Hey everyone, welcome back to TK's Tech Talk. I'm TK and this is TTKK, or better known as the Trusty Kitchen Knife. And we are back in the kitchen for another unboxing and installation video. So today we're going to be looking at the Western Digital Black 1TB with heatsink, and you can see it's got a nice logo or a bit of wording up there which says compatible with PlayStation 5 or desktop PC. One thing I just want to add before we talk about anything is that this heatsink is not easy to remove. So if you have a motherboard which has heat sinks already on there, or if you plan to use it in a PC with your own heatsink, don't try and remove that heatsink. It's apparently very hard to remove, and I'm not sure if it's worth risking breaking the drive to remove that. So if you need a drive without the heatsink, buy it without the heatsink. So even if you're going to use a custom heatsink in your PS5, don't buy this drive and try and remove the heatsink. So I guess that's one downside when considering this drive, but it's not a big deal, it's not a deal breaker. So anyway, for now, we're going to be installing this into the PlayStation, and there's something interesting that I really want to try today. So this is less about how to install a drive into the PlayStation 5, though I will walk through that. I have another idea in my head that, you know, we've talked about these external drives. If you've seen my previous videos, we've talked about external drives, you can't connect two drives and all of that. And I just had this thought, well, if we can't connect external drives, can we just swap between two internal drives? So I've got this 980 Pro here, and this is a 2TB model. And I'm wondering, well, is it possible to install, stick this drive inside the PlayStation 5, format it, copy a game to it, and then put another drive inside, so swap them out. Will they be detected? Obviously, when I plug this drive in, it will ask me to format. So once I format this drive, will it allow me then to remove this drive and put that drive back in? Now, I really don't know how it works, but I'm guessing in theory it might work. And if it does, I know it's not convenient to keep removing the cover and taking off the heat sinks and, that heatsink cover and swapping the drive, but it's much faster than copying drives to and from another external SSD, right? So I'd really like to try this. So first we're gonna get rid of the 980 Pro for now, and we're gonna unbox the SN850 and install it in the PlayStation. So let's see where the seals are. There's one seal here right at the top. Open that up. I'm sure you guys have seen this many times before, but while I'm doing it here, why not just add it in the video? So there we go. Is that a sticker in there? What is this? I'm not sure. I'm not going to bother with the paperwork, to be honest. That's too thick a booklet to worry about what's inside. And wow, the driver actually looks quite nice. Apparently there's an LED here which you can change color. I think it says it here on the box. Does it say compatible RGB lighting zone? I wonder how that would work. Be interesting to try on a PC and find out. But it's got very nice packaging, to be honest. It's really well packaged. So anyway, let's take this out. Wow, the drive does weigh a bit, but that's expected because of the built-in heatsink. So you can see there is definitely a separation there. So I'm guessing what people are talking about is this bottom cover here is going to be a little bit difficult to take off, right? I guess it can be done, but I still advise against it. And this is factory applied, so yeah, it's going to have much better contacts than when you try and do it at home on your own with a third-party heatsink. So anyway, that's out of the way now. So let's put that back inside this for a moment. So let's open up the PlayStation first. So the drive is on this side here. So I'm just going to lie the PlayStation down flat like this, and I'm going to apply pressure with my hand to the base of the PlayStation and pull from this corner towards that diagonal line, towards the opposite corner. So if we just put a little pressure and lift up, it just comes off like that. Well, a little bit of fiddling required, but it's off. So let's just turn this around, and we can see here we have the SSD bracket. So let me just change the camera angle. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, I think that's a good enough angle there. So we need to remove this cover for the SSD, and there's a single Phillips screw, so I'm going to use a small screwdriver, loosen that up. I know you guys have seen this 100 times before, and if you have, just skip this part of the video. So here we can see the SSD bay is exposed. There's a screw here. We need to remove that screw, so let's quickly do that. So you can get up to a 110mm drive, but most drives these days are 80mm, so let's just take that screw out. Okay, put the SN850 black, so the connector goes on this side obviously, and there is a spacer already applied there. And remember, make sure if you're using a smaller or larger drive to move this spacer, you literally just lift it out and move it around. And we're gonna put this inside, click pit in and down, so it looks like it's in the right place, and that's it. We just screw it in. So it's very easy to install this drive, right? I mean, there's no rocket science behind it. If it's the first time obviously you're doing something like this, it can be a little bit daunting, but believe me, once you've done it a couple of times, it's very easy. And what's nice about this is that if you've never built a PC or played with a PC inside before, this would make you more comfortable with dealing with the internals or something. So I think it's not a bad thing that Sony have done this. I think it's a really good idea, to be honest. So anyway, let me just put this cover back on. Oh, forgot the SSD cover for a second there. And it is advisable to put this back on. I'm not sure exactly what differences there are with and without it and things like that. And I'm sure there's mixed opinions and reviews about that. But I would say for now, just put it back on, because Sony say there's some thermal design benefits. I believe, watching other videos, that there's some thermal benefits of having this on here. I'm not sure exactly how that works. And we can talk about the endless different drives that are available as well. So anyway, now the SSD is back in, and we will just clip the cover back on. I'm not sure why I'm putting the cover back on, because I really want to play with the drives, but right, that's it, that's back on, I think. Yeah, it looks like it is. And now what I'm going to do is plug this to the TV, and let's have a look at the speeds that we get from this drive. Okay, so I was going to use my TV, but I'm using my 1080p Samsung monitor now, and you might hear some banging outside because there's building work going on. But most important thing is, as you can see, you've probably seen this many times before, we're going to format the SSD, and okay, that's a nice speed, a speed of 6,600 megabytes per second. I'm happy with that. Click OK to change. We're again installed, blah blah blah. OK, and we're in. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to just copy any game. So just going to go to the top, head over to settings, go to storage, go to M.2 storage, and we can see it's empty. So let's go to console storage. Let's see what games we've got installed at the moment. So there's a few games here. So what I'm going to do, I'm not really playing this Bugsnax, haven't played it for a long time, and let's just try and move this. I wish you could copy it, but anyway, let's do move, and let's move to M.2 storage. So what we're essentially doing now is removing the drive from the internal storage and moving it to the external storage. Now, once I remove the drive, obviously I won't have access to this game because it won't be on my internal SSD, right? So you can see here, this is my internal SSD, there is no game there, right? So now, why don't we go back? Let's make sure that we can see on the M.2 storage, and indeed it's there. So now let's go and install the 980 Pro, and because I have a custom heatsink, I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Okay, so I've got this relatively cheap heatsink that I bought off Amazon. I think, I don't even remember what it's called. It's just a generic brand. It comes in a packaging like this. There was a pack of two actually. So there were two in there, and it comes with the thermal pads and a screwdriver and some screws. So I already used this in the past to test it with the PS5, and wasn't really sure what to buy at the time, so I just bought this random one. Couldn't get hold of any of the popular ones because people were just buying them left, right and center, so I just bought wherever I could find. And then obviously after that the prices went up quite considerably as well. I think I need a smaller screwdriver. Okay, I'll swap that out for another one. There we go, that's better. So yeah, so basically these come with a couple of heat sinks, and you just put the heat sinks onto the drive, and you get a nice sandwich drive inside. I'm really hoping this is not losing focus. Okay. Okay, so there we go. There's the heatsink there and one there. So this one, I think, is this already applied on the top? I think I've not taken that one off, which is fine. So what's the front? So I guess the hole is at the back, so that will be there. So basically there's a heatsink. You apply one to the heatsink. Better to apply to the drive first, I guess, so that you know exactly where it's going. But right now we're gonna have to do some guesswork. There we go, that looks about right. So let's put that like that. Let's open up this heatsink as well. This is a thinner one. I'll apply it on here first, I guess. Just like that. Oh, it's gone a bit bent. Not sure if it really needs one on the bottom, to be honest, but we'll put it on anyway. Get as much thermal pad on there as we can. Now, I know that there's different qualities of thermal pad as well, by the way, so keep that in mind as well when you're buying one of these enclosures, or just have a look at the unlimited videos there are for these heatsink comparisons. One great channel that I usually watch is Naz Compares. He's got amazing comparison of all of the different heatsinks and stuff available for the PS5, and all of the drive tests as well, by the way. And because there's more or less the same testing, you get a good idea of how the drives perform. And I'm going to be honest, I mean, if you were using a drive inside the PlayStation, you wouldn't even know, is it overheating? Would it be faster if you had a different drive? How many seconds of loading time would you take? You really wouldn't notice all of that. So I actually bought this SN850 because it was a relatively cheap drive. So anyway, it was on offer for like £100. So this heatsink is now on, and I just want you to see how it looks before we put it into the PlayStation. So there we go. It's a nice little sandwich there. You can see the two heat sinks. The interface is sticking out. At the back is in as well, securely. So let's get the PlayStation open again. Okay, PlayStation's open. Let's get this drive out. And we can then have a quick look at the way the two different heat sinks look in comparison, the cheap one versus the SN850. Let's just get that out. We can leave it in there like that. Okay, so that drive is out. And let's just do a comparison of the thickness of these two heat sinks. Okay, so there we go. You can see that this one looks a little bit bigger. That doesn't necessarily mean it's better, because you know the materials they use, the airflow and everything like that, the way the heat sink's been applied, that really does make a difference. But anyway, and you see, even though this is slightly thicker, you'll see that it fits very nicely inside the PlayStation. So let's put that in as before. So the gap is on this side. Let's find the gap there, push it in, and looks really nice inside, to be honest. It's a little bit bigger than that heatsink, but it's still a very good size, and it fits perfectly inside. I don't really know what this one was called, so I can't really tell you the name of it, but if I can find the link that I purchased it from, because I'm going to be honest, after I bought it, I couldn't see it anymore, so it's just gone, like disappeared. I can't do any thermal testing. I don't really have the equipment to do all of that. I guess I could do it in a PC, because at least we have some idea of the temperatures from there. I just had to remove it there because the washer came out of the way. But anyway, that drive is in now, more or less. So let me close this back up, and we'll format this, and then we'll swap the drives again. I'm not going to actually, I'll have to close it because I'm going to put it on the floor, but let me close it back up, we'll turn it back on, and let's see what happens. Okay, so there's an interesting message on the screen here. It says, can't access your M.2 SSD. Try turning off your PS5, removing your M.2 SSD, then inserting again. If that doesn't work, try reformatting. Now, I'm not sure why it's like this. This drive has been in the PlayStation before, so it could be because it knows it's been in the PlayStation before. It could be because I used it in my laptop. It was in use in my laptop. I had Windows installed and I put it in so it doesn't recognize it. Or because there was already the SN850 inside formatted, it's looking for that SN850. So it thinks that there's no SN850 inside and it doesn't know what data is on there. So if it keeps a record of whichever drive is in the PlayStation, some key doesn't match, it's highly unlikely we're going to be able to use two. But let's reformat it anyway. And let's do format. And let's see what this one's rated at on the speed test. So we had 6,600 on the SN850, and we're only getting 5,600. Now I just want to point out this drive firmware has never been updated. So it's quite possible that that's why it's showing 5600, because I have seen people getting higher speeds. So maybe I'll try that. But anyway, your M.2 SSD has been formatted. Okay. Right, so let's go back into settings. Let's go back to storage, and let's go to console storage. Go to games, and of course we don't have bug snacks, so let's copy something else. I don't know, Lego Worlds. Let's copy Lego Worlds. So let's click on that. Let's go select items to move, Lego Worlds, move, and okay. And I forgot to show you the drive, but you might have seen it on the right hand side there, but we'll have a look at it in a second. So we have now copied one game to the 980 Pro and one game to the M.2 SSD. So let's have a look at the M.2 SSD, 3.87, and you can see at the top right hand corner right there, I'm not sure if you can read it, but it says 1.99 TB, size 2.01 terabytes. So now let me put the SN850 back in. This time I'm not going to do it on video, and let's come back and see if it works. Okay, so the drive is back in. Let's turn the PlayStation back on, just making sure that's on. Hope we don't have any focusing issues. I was having some just a moment ago. It looks okay. Right, it's back on. Let's see what happens now. It worked. So we're back on the dashboard, and it seems like all of our games are here. So let's go to settings, and what do we see? Storage, M.2, and our game is still there. That's really cool. So one thing I noticed was I was doing that rebuild database. Let's shut this down, and for one last time, I'm going to do it one more time. I'm just going to turn this off, put the 980 Pro back in. I know this is a bit overkill amount of testing, but I'm really intrigued to see if it does work, because I want to copy that game back off and repurpose my 980 Pro. So let's put the 980 Pro back in, and let's copy the data back. Okay, there's a last test, turning the PlayStation back on with the 980 Pro, and let's see what happens. It's making a lot of noise there. Or is that from outside? Does it rebuild the database again? It does indeed. And there we go. So one last check before we stop this. Settings, storage, M.2, our game's still there. So let's just move it to console storage. Okay, so then I can get rid of this drive and put it back into my laptop or my PC. I'm still undecided where it should stay right now, but bottom line is this works, guys. You can at least change between internal drives. I think this is a big benefit, to be honest, because anybody who's thinking about buying a drive now, I would recommend just buy another internal drive, because at least you don't need to back it up. Why would you buy an external storage when this is much faster and it literally takes 5 minutes to swap the drives? It doesn't make any sense to me, to be honest. So I hope this has been useful. It has been for me. I'm not sure if I missed this on Sony's page or something. I've never really read it. It's just a thought that came to my mind, and I'm really happy that we can switch between the two drives. That really does help. So I think that's it for this video, guys. I think it's been a good experiment. I would highly recommend anybody who's looking to buy an external drive, maybe just buy another internal drive when they become a bit cheaper. Of course, you can still have an external drive as well. There's no harm in having that. I would like the function to copy games instead, so that we can have multiple copies of our internal or secondary SSD drives inside our PlayStation. That would be nice as well. But still, we can't complain. We're now able to we're now able to use two of these drives by swapping between them. And I think that's a lot faster than copying games on and off the SSD. So thanks for watching. I hope you found this useful. Please do feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.